Welcome back into Lowcountry Money Talk. We are here today talking about money, of course, and that's what we're going to do. We talked a little bit about current events. Current events are an important way to make sure we are safeguarding ourselves against what's going on. Phil, thanks for joining us.
I'm still here.
You're still here.
Right.
I'm so glad you stuck with us. Phil's with Revolutionary Financial Group, and now we're going to get into the thought-provoking questions of the day. Does that sound good to you?
I like it.
I know. And you always have great answers for us.
Let's try.
So one thing we want to talk about is really connecting, what's going on with current events to what's going on with your personal portfolio.
Yeah.
And one thing we got to really look at and think about is have we had our retirement portfolio stress tested?
Yeah.
And basically just to see how market losses might impact your retirement security.
If you haven't, you are now, because we are in a rough patch as far as the equity side of the market's going right now. A lot of unknowns. So a lot of people will see the stress, here, they're feeling the stress. They're, oh gosh, I don't even want to look at my statement or this or that. Well, now it's telling you something. So we need to look at it. We need to do some comparisons. We need to see if you're overly invested in risk assets that are moving down. How much do we have on the safe side? How much income do we need? Where we're going to take it through? All of these things you need to be doing right now. Don't wait until summer's over.
Okay.
Because things are moving very quickly.
Right, and I think an important question that you and I have discussed on the break a little bit, and one that you of course have with your clients, is sometimes we think we're in one category or another when it comes to risk.
Yeah.
But actually we're not, and it might be just because our definition of what is risky versus what is conservative is different. So let's talk that through a little bit. Do people tend to consider themselves more aggressive, more moderate, more conservative? Right. And how important is that question?
Well, the first thing we need to do, Jess, is to find out what your definition of aggressive is. Conservative or moderate. What does that mean? Can you please tell me? Because the way that I see it and the way that many people that work in finance see it, maybe a book definition or something, but the way you see it or think of it. So I've seen many times when people come in to see me that they tell me that they are a conservative investor. And then when, I do an analysis of their holdings and look at the taxes that they're paying and the fees that they're paying and the income that they're taking from their savings, I might say, well, I'm seeing more of an aggressive person here. So can you please tell me what your definition of conservative is? And, I had one person one time say, well, I'm conservative because I buy mutual funds and I just hold them for a long time. I'm like, well, I don't recognize that definition of conservative. But the first thing is to ask that person, hey, tell me your definition so I'm not labeling you.
Right.
And then we'll go over that, and then I'll say, well, basically what you're telling me doesn't reflect in what I'm seeing in your report here or your analysis. So that's the first step to get that figured out.
Yeah, make sure you're on the same page.
Right.
And if they think they're conservative but aren't really, then we need to talk about what that should look like and make sure your meaning is the same. There's a lot more we could talk about here in terms of investments and stocks. We're gonna, when we come back, talk a little bit about objectives of your investments, and then also what people want right now is making sure that there are safe ways to earn returns. Is that even possible? So we'll walk you through that. But because we're talking so much about portfolios, I think it's a good time to let viewers know that you can help them with their portfolios by doing an actual analysis, figuring out how risky they are or should be, and really by working through Rachel on those things and making sure they get in and start looking at that now.
Sure. They need to call in. They need to talk to Rachel. They need to set up a time. The one thing we need to also add to that is not only your analysis of your holdings, but what about your taxes?
Sure.
Can we reduce your taxes? Are you paying too much in taxes because of the way that you're taking income out of your investments? So that's a very big thing. So we want to look at taxes because if we lower the taxes, that does increase your income.
Okay, well, hey, yeah, that's a great way to do it. So we'll talk a little bit when we get back more about investments, find out if there are some safe ways to get some gains,
Sure.
and I hope the answer is yes.
Right.
We'll see you on the other side of the break.